Okay, so my journey has a lot of ups and downs, I have to be honest. In the beginning, I was definitely not trained, a simple, let's say, normal weight girl, around 65, 70 kilograms with no muscle mass whatsoever. Slowly, I started to feel like no matter what I'm eating, I'm getting gassy. No matter what I'm eating, I'm getting this upsetness. I tried to clean out my diet. I tried to eat more whole foods.
Welcome to the channel. How are you feeling?
Nervous?
Nervous?
Yes, a little bit. I have to be honest. Yeah, I am nervous.
Yeah, honesty is the best policy, and you should be honest, because if you are not honest, then there would be a mask on your face.
Yes.
So you're on the right track.
Yes,
And I was just appreciating you, like the audience was waiting for you, that you've done your fat loss, and we'll just start talking about your comfortable topic first, so that the nervousness goes away.
Okay.
So would you like to tell about your fat loss journey? Like, what did you weigh and what did you do to lose the weight?
I became 85 kilogram around, which is a lot of weight compared to my height, which is like around 162, 163 centimeters. So yes, I was at my heaviest at the time.
And then when one day you woke up and then you were like, gosh, I am heavy.
I am heavy.
So what was your first thought? What was your first step that, okay, I can do this, let's start with this and then I'll carry forward?
Well, of course, the biggest step of change of diet was increasing the amount of protein, which helped me a lot in satiety because I have a big appetite, so I can consume a lot of foods. So as a result, I needed to direct my food into higher volume, lower calorie eating. Main point in the beginning was to increase protein, making sure I have it in each and every meal as much as I can. It was difficult in the beginning because since it brings you so much high satiety, it was difficult to even consume that much food. But of course, you get used to it. Hydration was on point. I made sure I'm hydrated all the time. I made sure I'm sleeping well. I made sure I cut down the fats.
How much protein were you consuming and how did you actually increase the amount? Was it a transient and gradual increment, or was it like, I'm just gonna have 2 grams per kg of my body weight and I'm just gonna drink 6 liters of water, I'm gonna sleep 8 hours from tomorrow onwards?
I went for the extreme approach, which, to be honest, maybe it's not the best for everyone, but it was the best for me because my motivation stayed consistent throughout the weight loss journey. I saw the weight dropping fast and I was more and more motivated to stay consistent. Of course, that does come with negative sides in the future after you do lose the weight, which I realized later on. But that was my approach. Really hardcore. I ate around 140 to 160 grams of protein every day. My carbs intake 200 to 300, and my fat was like 40 to 60 grams of fat.
That's something new to hear from a girl, having 200 to 300 grams of carbs. How did you decide to not go on a low carb approach? Because girls nowadays have just one quick fix. I'm just gonna stay away from carbohydrates.
Yes. So throughout my learning journey and my learning experience is that it does not matter where these calories. So priority wise, we need to prioritize the total calories in the beginning. There is no point in thinking about how much carbs or protein or fat you're eating if you're not on a caloric deficit. That was the most important thing that I understood. So in the end, it was more important to me to stay on a caloric deficit than to hit those macros. That was the most important part and the thing that I learned the most from this certificate that I have obtained. But slowly, of course, being on a caloric deficit and let's say eating fast food, obviously not productive because you cannot never feel satisfied enough with your food and you can never maintain that caloric deficit. So I realized that and started hitting so I think the most important macro is protein, of course. So hitting that first. Second most important macro is carbs. So your energy comes from carbs. Without carbs, how will you even have the energy to fuel your workouts, your life, your daily steps, your NEAT, your everything?
Absolutely.
So without that, I found myself very unproductive, very unenergized. I was not being able to lose weight. Of course, I did fall into that phase of like trying low carb. I've tried many things because I had to experience different things to figure out what my body wants or what works for me, you know.
So what difference did you feel in terms of results?
More carbs made me hit 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day, which of course increases your metabolism, which means instead of eating less, I had to just walk more.
Because your need went up.
I had the energy to walk more. Without that energy, I couldn't have walked or couldn't have fueled my exercise. How would that have been possible to even reach my goal weight?
So you feel moving more and eating more is better?
Of course.
Rather than just moving less and eating less?
Yes, because of course in the end, at the end of the cut of any weight loss journey anyone wants, everyone wants to look toned, right? That's the word of the social media. Toned.
If not everyone, but all the girls.
Yes, but the toned look, we need to understand, is more muscle, less fat. That is the toned look. So if I want more muscle, how will I be able to get that muscle without working out? And how will I be able to work out without my energy source, which is carbs, right? I mean, of course, if you do cut down carbs, your body adapts and you start creating ketones, right? And which means you get your energy from other sources. Your body creates energy. But I don't find it as the most efficient way because our body is designed to get carbs and transfer it to glucose and immediate energy. So why would you change that natural path of things, let's say?
Why would you start walking on your hands instead of your feet?
Yes, why, if your body is designed that way, why not approach it that way?
What difference did you feel in terms of results when you were on a low carb diet and once you were moving more and eating more? So did you go flat when you were on a low carb diet, and did you go like, I can't do anything, I can't focus?
Yes,
and
very low energy.
And how were your hunger levels? How was your digestion? So what difference did you feel in both the cases?
So low carb, definitely. I was lazy. I was lethargic. I didn't have the motivation to even hit the gym. I didn't have the motivation to even hit my steps. I didn't even care at the time because of the kind of mindset you become. I mean, you don't have the energy, right? It's just the way the body is. And definitely I saw this as something I cannot stay consistent in any way. Having more carbs and moving more helped me see much better results, much faster results. And I saw progress in my training as well. So, of course, as you know, building muscle and losing fat at the same time can only happen in two cases. If you're a complete beginner or if you're undertrained, right? Like if you haven't trained for that long or, So, being that myself, I saw results. Exercising and being on a cut, I saw results even in strength. I could increase my strength. I could do my first pull-up, right?
Amazing.
During my cut. Of course, you can do pull-up easier when you're lighter because it's less weight to pull. But at the same time, that means my muscles stayed as strong, let's say, which means I had to work out. And if I had to work out, I needed to fuel that workout with carbs. That was very important for me.
Yeah, and I think you did not know, but you actually did the right thing, because there actually we actually have some evidence on body recomposition, building muscle and losing fat at the same time. That can happen in the third case as well, which is what you call the high flux method, which is what you did, eating more and burning more, because that's where adaptations happen quicker. And that's what you told us that you were able to do your first pull-up when you were having carbohydrates.
Yes.
So tapping into that, what are your best carbohydrate sources? Once you were having like 200 to 300 grams of carbs, that's a lot.
Yes.
If you opt for clean sources. So what are your top sources of carbohydrates that you would recommend to all the girls?
So I had definitely different phases. I'm a person who does care about taste, okay? Like, I cannot just eat food without taste. Taste matters to me. So potatoes. I found potatoes, I mean, there is research that does say potatoes are the most satisfying form of carbs.
Absolutely.
So I had to add it in every dinner meal because it brought me that satiety. I felt satisfied from the meal. So potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice sometimes. Rice worked for me. Doesn't work for a lot of people. I feel like for some people it doesn't give them that satiety they expect from it. They feel like they can overconsume.
That's one of my favorite sources.
Yes, but I absolutely love rice. I definitely have it in my diet every other day. What else? I love bread too. I did not sacrifice some things which, let's say, people who do go on a diet do, because I know what matters was the total and my macros. I did add breads with eggs in the morning. I found that an enjoyable breakfast, and I find that kept my motivation forward. You know, having to eat meals that I don't enjoy wouldn't have let me push through the phase of the hunger and, you know, the difficulties of when you're going through a fat loss phase.
No, absolutely. And then once you moved on to losing some weight with this approach, like when you were having high carbohydrate, high protein and moderately fat intake diet, so how much did you lose in how many months?
So I was 85 kilogram at the start of the cut. As I said, I went fiercely at the cut. So by the end of the 4th month, I was 62 kilograms, which means I lost around 23 kgs kilograms
on a high carbohydrate diet.
On a high carbohydrate diet, of course. Yes.
And how many steps did you walk in this phase?
So it was depending on the day, but I would say average 5,000 to 10,000, 12,000. Some days I did hit 15,000 when I was like, actually I was really fueled on carbs on those days. I really made sure I have my carbs in, even a little chocolate there, some dates here, of course. Yes, I think that's what fueled those steps, and that's what increased my metabolism.
And how did you train? Like what was your training approach?
So definitely strength training, main lifts, deadlifts, bench and squats. We also did lat pull downs, overhead presses, triceps skull crushers, bicep curls.
So basically all the generic movements.
Yes, definitely.
But that training was progressive, right?
Yes. I mean, he made sure the volume stayed as high as possibly can to maintain the muscle mass, or even see some progress even
why
during
though?
the
Like
cut.
high volume training, like why was that?
To make sure because when you're on a caloric deficit, right? People think it's so easy for the body to just tap in those fats and just use it, right? It's not the case, unfortunately. It's much easier for your body to consume your muscles than fat. So that's why when you're not training during a caloric deficit or during your cut, you are losing fat, but you are losing some muscles as well. It's natural. Even if you're training, you will lose a little bit of muscle, which is okay. But to make sure that muscle mass maintains that mass as much as possible, you need to make sure you have your volume right in training, so you maintain that as much as possible.
So the more you use it, the better the body has
because you're giving signals to the body that, hey, I need this muscle because I'm lifting regularly, so please don't use it as an energy source. Please use the fats instead. That's how I think about it, right? It's like if you're just lazing around, sitting on a couch and eating on a caloric deficit, think of how your body is gonna think, right? You are in a hunger phase, right? You're hungry. So what would be easier for it to consume as energy? Muscles, unfortunately.
Because the body doesn't care, and we are not designed to actually live on muscles.
Yes, I mean your body on a caloric deficit actually think you're in a state of danger, right?
Survival.
It's like survival. Yes, I don't have enough food. How can I get enough energy to support this body as long as possible?
Amazing.
So
So how can people reach out to you? Because I myself am so impressed, because this is what I believe in. I have uploaded over 400 videos on YouTube, but none of the humans I've ever met who've talked like this, like the like-minded thoughts. I am very, very, very impressed on the way you think.
Thank you.
And the way he thinks about training and you think about nutrition. So I want people to reach out to you. What is your Instagram handle?
It's Kiki Eats and Lifts. But I want to say something before. I would love if people reach out for me. I would love to help as much as I can. But I have to be honest with you, being on this podcast, I do have this feeling of imposter syndrome. Feeling like I need to get my things right first, then help people. because I know many people still do that regardless, but I want to offer the best help I can and the best information I can, and I want to actually show people, if you actually follow me, I would like you to come with me on my weight loss journey. I have been very stressed for the last few months, and I have been letting go of my diet and training, but now I'm planning on getting it back in track. And if you want to see that journey, you're more than welcome to join.
And that's the strongest evidence that how genuine of a person you are.
Thank you.
And at some point we all feel like an imposter. I would say every other day I feel like an imposter. He must be feeling like an imposter, because either we can be overconfident on our stuff, or we can just fuel ourselves for our future actions by feeling an imposter that, okay, I'm not good enough, I need to work harder. But expressing that on camera in front of the world, that shows the amount of genuineness that you contain. Now, talking about stress and IBS that you were talking about before coming onto the camera, how did you find that you are suffering from IBS, and what are you actually facing? What kind of stress are you facing in life?
I see.
Let's talk about it.
I have actually lived in Hungary, Budapest, Hungary, for the last 5 years. I work as a kindergarten teacher, as an English teacher there. And for the last 6 months, I've been in a very high stress job phase, let's say. I've been burnt out from work. I've been overworked. So as a result of that, I started feeling a lot of stomach upsetness, let's say. And then when I contacted my family and letting them know about this, I found out that it runs in our genetics, IBS, Irritable Bowel Syndrome. So knowing that and feeling the stress, I feel like it made it much worse. Slowly, I started to feel like no matter what I'm eating, I'm getting gassy. No matter what I'm eating, I'm getting this upsetness. I tried to clean out my diet. I tried to eat more whole foods. Sometimes it's really hard going through stress to, let's say, have the cleanest diets. It can be very easy to fall into old habits and snacking and, stress eating. I totally understand that. But during this phase, I really found a lot of difficulties, and you've been mentioning that you do know a lot about this topic, and you do have IBS yourself. And I would really love to hear your take on that, because it's a very recent thing that I've faced now, and I don't know how to tackle it, to be honest.
Okay, let's troubleshoot that on the camera very quickly. Talking about whole foods, you said that you've been eating very clean and you've been designing your diet in order to cure your IBS. List down the food items that you were eating.
So for carbs, let's say, bread, potatoes, rice, that's about it. Yes, pasta sometimes, of course. For meats, chicken, some pork, very less, some tofu sometimes, depends, and lots of veggies actually. So I love broccoli, cauliflowers, chickpea. I know lentils and beans can be a bit of a no, but I've had them all my life and I never had an issue before.
No, they're actually not a big no. In fact, So do you know something about FODMAPs?
Yes.
So basically the broccoli and the cauliflower and the chickpea that you're having, all three of them are categorized under FODMAP.
Yes.
And an IBS patient should always stay away from FODMAP. That's the number one line of treatment that we advise to somebody, or I advise to myself. Because broccoli, chickpea and cauliflower is a FODMAP bomb. That's just FODMAP purely.
Really?
So even if you steam it, cook it, that's not going to destroy the amount of FODMAP that is enough to actually destroy your gut. So first line of I'm sorry to actually hurt your choices.
No,
if you love having them.
I was experiencing with different kinds of food, trying to see what irritates my stomach and what doesn't. But at the same time, going through that very highly stressful phase, I can't say I've been consistent or I've been overwatching this. So it's good to hear from you. I want to hear from you what you think should be done in these cases.
First step towards everything was the elimination method. When I eliminated every single thing and I just designed my diet with the foods that fit into like 99% of the cases, which are the easily digestible food that have no anti-nutrients, no FODMAP. So those foods are antioxidant rich foods like blueberries, rice, potato. As you said, potato has some amount of FODMAP, so it's better to eliminate that as well.
I see.
Bread is fine. Do you have milk?
Yes, of course, with my protein shake.
Yeah, milk is fine as long as you're not lactose intolerant.
I'm not.
So yeah, even I am not. Milk is fine. So these are just the 5 carbohydrate sources that you should actually plan your diet around. So you have to restrict your radius firstly for just 4 to 6 weeks so that your gut actually gets rid of all the inflammation that it is facing at the moment. That once you get stressed, as soon as you get stressed, it gets bloated. That means the gut is inflamed. So we have our small intestine and the large intestine. Whatever we have that is not compatible with our gut, it goes into the large intestine, and then there's a lot of gases that occur to actually destroy that food in the large intestine. After that food is just passed out from our body, which is what you call excretion.
Yes.
But when we are when the gut is inflamed, we stress, and then IBS is psychosomatic, it gets triggered, and then on cherry on the top we have the foods that are not compatible to our gut.
Makes it much worse.
Much worse. So the first line of treatment for next 4 to 6 weeks is to eliminate and just to have rice, bread, blueberries, that's it, and milk. In protein, whey protein is fine, chicken, eggs, that's it. No pork, nothing. Even if you want to have, just restrict yourself. And in fats, you have to have nothing. The natural fat that you get from meat, that is enough, because the more fat you have, it's gonna put a lot of stress on your gut because fat is slow digesting.
I see.
So we just have to de-stress our gut for next 4 to 6 weeks.
Even the healthy fats like avocados and nuts you would avoid.
No, yeah, because that is raw. So the another point that I'm gonna come to is you have to avoid raw
foods. I see.
No matter how healthy they are, no matter how super duper qualities they have,
I know.
just for 4 to 6 weeks.
I see.
Once you do this for next 4 to 6 weeks, then you will slowly start introducing the cooked food of these versions, like no avocado for next 3 to 4 months, or no salads, no cucumber, nothing. The most amazing thing on earth is what you call the calabash. In India we call it ghia, tori. Okay? So I have that recipe uploaded that has 1.7 million views now. So there is a huge population in India who's suffering from IBS.
Yeah.
So you cook that without oil, and then you distribute that and put that into your meals. You will get all your micronutrients, you will not face any deficiencies, and on the top of that, for antioxidants you're having blueberries. You can have your oats, cooked oats. I hope you don't have raw oats.
I do sometimes.
That's the number one no-no.
Really?
Yeah, because I used to have that, and we all love having raw oats.
Especially in the summer with cold milk, and yes.
In that case, what you can do is you can have overnight oats, because once you soak that or microwave that, the amount of phytates in that oats, you know what is phytate?
Yes.
That is an anti-nutrient. That goes down. And when you cook it further, that goes down even to a lower point. That is not gonna harm your gut. So these are some pointers that, so once you get my gut mechanic manual, I'm going to give that to you. All of the data is compiled in that, and you just have to open up the no bloat food library. I have the whole food library created for people like us, and you can just choose food items from there. And I have sample diet plans also over there, and you can design your own diet plan.
That's perfect.
And I guarantee you, in next 2 to 3 months, you will give me a call and thank me. Thank you, Ekaj.
I'll make sure I will.
Yeah, and apart from that, you have to practice on taking less mental stress, which I know is very difficult.
I know.
But if you just create a check-in form for yourself, as you said, you are a certified nutritionist. So apart from the visuals, you just have to have you just have to add one more question in your check-in format. The amount of social events per week where you actually relaxed and chilled, and the amount of meditation, like the minutes per day that you did. Meditation is nothing. It's very tricky to actually hear about meditation, but it's a simple process of just closing your eyes and just breathing out for 8 seconds multiple times, and just not thinking about anything. Practice to not thinking about anything. But even if you do, you still win, because you just let yourself out. You exhaled for 8 seconds for multiple sets. So once you exhale, your parasympathetic nervous system gets activated, and that's where your gut gets actually relaxed.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's a bit of too much of information,
No, but
yeah.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward for your manual. I'm really interested.
No, but amazing. I was very inspired by your transformation, and
Thank you.
I wanted the audience to know about your transformation, and I want them to reach out to you because, as you said, you're gonna upload a lot of crazy recipes also.
Hopefully, yes.
No, I am sure you will.
Look forward to it.
So thank you so much for coming on to my channel and inspiring my audience. And I'm gonna see you soon, sometime in future.
Of course.
Thank you so much, Christine.
you.